I'm still here, surviving through the bleakest nights. Couldn't get away, even with the cheapest flights. Always kept my vision clear, clinging to the meekest light. Now I know my time is now. The kid is about to peak in life. Trip of a lifetime, let's fucking go. All right, so I'm gonna put it like this. 2 days ago, I tripped off of mushrooms. 3 days ago, I fucked my whip up. A week ago, I started an OnlyFans account. And a month ago, I sucked some dude's dick. Welcome to the latest episode of the Trip of Lifetime podcast. I am your host, Sterm McWorm. Let's fucking go. All right, so this is gonna be an interesting one. I'm gonna start though before I get to anything. I fucked my whip up, so I had to take the bus here. I was gonna go to Fogo de Chao before the session, but I thought I had a 2:00 session. It was a 1:00 session. Good thing they sent the email verifying the time. So I didn't have enough time to go to Fogo, so I took the bus here. And that's a good thing about living in Austin. Like, if I didn't drive, Lyft, and Uber as my job, I could just take a bus everywhere. Like, I won't even need a car. But so I took a bus here. There's a Taco Deli right around here, and that's it's like a small chain around here. And I'm always picking food up from, and for work, and it was I went there and it was really banging. They have pork belly tacos too, and they were slamming. And then I went to the Starbucks afterwards. The dude at the register asked me my name. I felt like being like, dude, you see the fucking shirt, dog? Nah, but yeah, I just told him my name. And then the last thing was I was sitting outside, I had time to kill, and there was a car, and it's on Lamar Boulevard. And Lamar Boulevard, like making a left turn on Lamar Boulevard, is just like one of the most difficult things you're ever gonna have to do in life. And they were trying to make a left onto Lamar and out of the Starbucks, and they went. You know what I mean? They cut a car off because they cut a car off. Like, they had to fucking go. It's hard to get over on Lamar, and the dude slams his horn because and he wasn't even like breaking his speed. He was like picking up speed at the time. Like, he didn't need to fucking slam his horn, but he slammed his horn because he's caught in that fucking gay heterosexual life that I'm about to talk about, yo. This is what's going on with society, yo. Everyone is a little gayer than they want to admit, and because of that, because they're suppressing inside, everyone acts so fucking gay on the surface, yo. Dick to guys isn't as nasty as you want to think that it is to you. And because you won't admit that, you don't even know you won't admit it, but you won't admit it, so therefore you act so fucking gay on the surface. So everybody acts fucking gay, yeah. All right, so sometimes in life a pattern is so deep you have to throw a wrench into it. I'm sorry, it's just an emotional episode. Sometimes in life, a pattern is so deep you have to throw a wrench into it, and that's what my sex life is. I've never had an existing sex life. It's the elephant in the room wherever I go in life. If I know someone for long enough, it becomes the elephant in the room. I put a lot of thought into it, and I'm gonna have I'm airing my shit out and kill Tony. I just, because of this trip, I decided to air shit out a little early. But I'm gonna do I'm gonna have like 20 episodes at least on my opinion on sexuality, the dynamics between in relationships these days. I have to say I have a lot to talk about on it would be an understatement. But so the trip I tripped a couple days ago. I I fucked my whip up 3 days ago, so I had the day off, so I was like, I'm gonna trip, yo, because I had some shrooms. But I want to talk about the trip on this podcast without watering it down. Cause like, now that I'm doing a podcast, anytime I trip, I'll definitely have a podcast episode about the trip. But if I wasn't gonna talk about my struggle sexually in life, then I couldn't. You couldn't understand trips, you know what I mean? My trips, because they go hand in hand. The trip, it was the necessary reset I needed, but like, it's almost feels like it wore off already. Like, I'm like, I can't even believe I'm doing this episode right now. But I go soul searching when I trip. That's why I like tripping so much. I don't just do drugs. I'm out there trying to find myself. In my universe, in the universe of Sterm, tripping is what real therapy is. Tripping it serves as a highlighter. The universe shows you what you need to see, and it highlights how my existence as a human being is in shambles. And it's done that for the past 10 years. It's always showed it to me, whether no matter what my day-to-day existence looks like, my existence as a human being is in shambles. And that's the truth. Mentally, I'm good on a day-to-day basis, but I set up an existence that I enjoy where I don't deal with stress. I don't deal with bullshit. I get to do stuff that doesn't bother me, but my progress in life is paralyzed. And that's what, and tripping, it shows it to me. It highlights it for me. I've never suffered from depression, but I live a depressed existence. I said on on the open episode of my podcast that there's three things that keep the soul alive: sex, love, and purpose. And my life has been void of sex and love my whole life. I mean, the only love I have is unconditional love from my parents, which I take for granted because it's been around since day one. The only other love I have is friends, but I mean, I have love with my friends, but it's not like, it's when I talk about love, I'm talking about love you feel on a day-to-day basis. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I talk about when I say the soul needs love. I'm not talking about having people that love you. And I cling to purpose because I don't have sexual love in my life. I cling to what I'm trying to accomplish artistically. My day-to-day existence is I work out and I tan also, but that's not on this list. I eat, I sleep, I work, I jerk off, I smoke, I watch sports, and I create. That's what my existence is. It's a depressing life that depletes you of energy. I'm not depressed, you know what I mean? But it's a depressing existence. I once watched the Lego movie when I was tripping, and it hit me hard because it was basically exactly what goes hand in hand with my trips, what I was seeing. And like, that's what I'm about to say. Like, I don't know what was actually on that Lego movie when I watched it because I never went back and watched it afterwards. I think it actually is exactly what I thought it was. But even if it wasn't, I believe there's a higher consciousness that communicates with us telepathically. That's something, if I had to guess, I would say that's more likely the case than not the case. I think that through telepathy, there's a higher consciousness that could communicate with us. And they do it when you're tripping, when you're in an altered state of mind. That's how they could do it. That's because you're quote unquote crazy or you're quote unquote on drugs. So that's when they're allowed to infiltrate because they know that no one's going to believe what you see. So they don't. When I watch TV, when I'm tripping, they change what's on the TV. They change what I'm hearing. But if you walk in the room, it's what's normally on the TV. It's not like they switch the words that I'm viewing, but they're switching how you perceive it in your head. Like, my first album was called When Reality Meets Perception. I'm perceiving what's on the TV to be different than the reality of what's on it. And that's because the reality of what's on it isn't even reality. What's real is what they're putting in my head, what they're putting into the TV. So, I think that there's a better chance that that's the case than that's not the case. I think that that's what's right in front of us. We sense it. We all know everything feels connected and something feels fishy, but we can't put our hands on it. But that's what I think it is. But so the Lego movie, when I was watching it, they I don't know what it was actually about, but it showed someone who was living a depressed existence, going to work and just coming home to an empty life. And then everyone around him is like singing, "Everything is awesome. Everything is awesome." And the person knows it's clearly not awesome. And that's what I feel like I am. I feel like I'm the Lego person who knows everything's not awesome. I feel like the people who say everything is awesome are the ones who deny that we're, for the most part, mostly live in depressed existences. Like, I mean, I could break down my depressed existence to a T. I can't break down everyone's, but everyone else is going through depressions. So I know everyone else is living depressed existences also. I was going to wait until next Kill-Tony appearance to air everything out, but I just might as well start the process now. When I found out about Kill-Tony, I was like, oh, hell yeah, this is a fucking path to Rogan and shit. Like, I knew it right off the bat. And then I saw the line of questioning. I was like, oh, shit. he's going to ask me about my sex life publicly. So I had a choice. It, Kill Tony made me face the crossroads that I keep trying to ignore, because I had a choice whether how badly do I want to go for it. If if I want to do Kill Tony, I had to air my shit out publicly. So that was choice I had. And I decided that it was a no brainer. You know what I mean? Kill Tony, it's exists for a reason in my universe. It's because it's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to air my shit out publicly. And like another thing is like that's like to me part of the therapy process. Like to me, one thing is tripping is part of therapy because it highlights your problems to yourself. Then talking to your loved ones is also a part of therapy. And I do that. I've talked to people around me about this. Everyone in my personal life kind of knows what my situation is. And then airing it out, not having anything to hide, and then doing something about it. That's the step to recovery and shit, to a better existence and stuff. And do I think I'm a homosexual human being? No, I don't think I'm a homosexual human being. I just think that I think that I have issues, which I'm gonna get to. But I'm in such a bad sexual pattern that it's unbreakable the way I'm living my life. It's just a closeted existence. It's the difference between being closeted and being free. I don't think that you need to be a homosexual human being to be closeted. There's an epidemic going on. Um, when I was going through it the worst was when before I moved out to Los Angeles. When I was a girl had just I was chilling with a girl who was all into me, but there was just no sexual energy there, and like I slept at her house and didn't even like didn't go for it. You know what I mean? Like I was trying to I explained to her my situation, so like I was trying to like set the right time, like try to manipulate perfectly, but that's not how this shit works. And she overnight she switched up. She's like, "Yeah, I just want to be friends with you." And I almost went crazy because, and she wouldn't explain to me why, because I don't deserve to be explained to you. So I was just like fucked up in the head. I was like, I was about to move out to Los Angeles. I was expecting this girl to be my savior, and it was another girl that's like, I'm not about to be your savior. And at the end of the day, when you're drowning in the water, you have to save yourself. You can't expect anybody to save you. So that's when I was watching Mad Kill Tony episodes. And episode after episode, it was people on Kill Tony talking about not coming during sex. Episode after episode, it was incredible. And Tony's losing his mind. The red man's like, oh my God. Tony's like, you're getting rock hard and fucking these girls for hours and you're not coming. Like the guys, they just don't fucking get it, yo. Your guys not coming during sex is not a real thing. All men come during sex as long as they're hard enough for sex. You're not getting sexually aroused. You're not getting turned on. That's what's happening. You're having these hookups where there's no connection anymore. Whether there was once a connection, because a lot of time it's with girlfriends. So whether maybe at first you were turned on by each other, but you haven't done anything to keep the arousal going, and you're having a hookup with no connection, and you're not getting fully hard. That's what's happening. That's why I stopped, checked out of the game, because I wasn't getting hard, and I wasn't getting hard because for multiple reasons. But I had no chance of getting hard. First of all, I knew I wasn't gonna before I even got my feet wet with chicks, because I wasn't even really getting my dick hard when I was jerking off. Like it's. I don't want to get into all of it now because I want to save it for future episodes when I really hammer down this shit. I want to talk more about the trip today, but it's it's an epidemic because the fact that so many people were on Kill Tony saying it It just shows you these are the people who are willing to say that shit on stage that they're not coming during sex when they're obviously just not getting hard. Because any guy that once you're fully turned on and your dick is hard as fuck, you have to come. Like you can't not coming is not an option. So that's the people who have the courage to stand on stage and say that shit. Then imagine how many people who would go on stage and not have the courage to say it. Then imagine all the people that aren't even going on stage in the first place. I mean, there has to be tons of people everywhere out there fucking not getting their dicks hard. And I hear mad jokes about it in the comedy scene. Chicks making jokes about dudes not getting their dicks hard. A couple dudes made jokes about it, about having issues. But and then they say it's men over 40 that aren't getting hard. But those are the ones who are in relationships with women who are basically seeking something. Imagine how many people are in their 20s who just don't have any sexual energy and just aren't getting their dicks hard. Like I think that it's just people not going to a doctor about it. But this isn't erectile dysfunction. I'm telling you this right now. Erectile dysfunction is made up. It's not a real thing. I could have been said I had erectile dysfunction. I have erectile dysfunction. You guys can go on my OnlyFans account. I posted the day I created it, and it's free. I'm not charged for it. The day I created it, I jerked off 4 times. I posted all 4 videos on my OnlyFans. You tell me if that's a kid who can't get his dick hard. That like it's not that at all. And I jerked off to think of girls every single time, and that's a fact. You know what I mean? Like I'm just at a point where I'm not scared to admit anything about myself to anybody. That's what me coming out of the closet is. It's not me staying here. And maybe I'm in denial. Maybe I'm the most in denial motherfucker ever. I'm a homosexual, but I don't think that's the case. And I can't help but mention it. You see it every single day, every single week on Kill Tony. If you watch Kill Tony, I'm not the one. I'm not the one. I don't want throwing anybody under the bus, but it's all public. What happens with Hans Kim? It's all public. You see it going on if you watch Kill Tony. It's what I saw I could look like on stage if I didn't do what I'm doing. If I basically said, I'm just going to keep living my same pattern where I have this, where I don't feel sexual. And what happens, the reason it happens is like you could see a picture on my OnlyFans account. My dick, when it's shriveled up and soft, it could be as small as like 1.5 inches. It's so bad. But when my dick is hard, it's almost 7 inches. It's incredible. Like I have a picture on there where I have a ruler, like measuring it where it looks like it's 7 inches. Like it's incredible how much bigger my dick gets when I'm hard opposed to when I'm not hard. And that's the reason that people don't have a sexual nature. They walk around with an inch dick in their pants when it's soft, and they like when I'm around chicks, I'm not like thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna lay pipe to you. I'm thinking like this is gonna be embarrassing when I take my clothes off. And that's why I'm not turned on when I go home with a girl, because I'm more embarrassed. I'm ashamed of what's about to happen. That I'm like, yo, you gotta get hard or you can't show her this soft dick. And then when if I pull it out soft, which I did a couple times in my head, I'm thinking, oh my God, like how could she like this? And like she can't, you know what I mean? And then when I'm in my head, I'm a shell in the situation, and it's so obvious what happens there. I'm not present. But I didn't want, I couldn't go the route I'm trying to go, where I'm trying to get known through content, where I'm trying to quote unquote famous or just a known human being, and be at that crossroads and think that I'm going to get through it by this external thing getting me through it when I wasn't right within. Like Lauryn Hill has a line, she says, how you going to win if you're not right within? And that's what was going on with me. And I realized like, I can't chase what I'm chasing if I'm not going to free my soul, if I'm not going to get myself right. And I knew if I became a regular, then all of a sudden pussy's going to be thrown my way, and I wasn't going to be ready to capitalize unless I was addressed who I am. And you see it happening with Hans Kim on a week-to-week basis. Like Hans Kim, I think he's an excellent comedian, but I've said it on this podcast that comedy doesn't make me laugh. You think I sit there cracking up when Hans Kim is up there with his minutes? I'm not sitting there cracking up. I'm sitting like, oh, hell yeah, that's a funny bit right there. I am sitting there cracking up when Tony Hinchcliffe starts that interview part and he says, "What's new in the love life, Hans? It's the show I can't get enough of. It's the gift that keeps fucking giving." And I'm sorry to victimize Hans Kim in this podcast, but Tony's doing it on a week-to-week basis. He's victimizing him, but that's not what Tony did, yo. That's not what Tony's actually doing. Like, it's funny because Rogan pointed it out. Rogan said, he said to Tony, he was like, "This is your friend. How are you doing this to him?" And he said to him, it's going to be the episode that's going to be dropping this week because Rogan was the guest. But doing what to him? Tony Hinchcliffe just opened up the door for Hans Kim. He gave him a career and allowed him to swim in pussy. Dished in the rock at the rim, but Hans Kim missed the layup. And I'm sorry to make Hans Kim the victim here, but it's exactly the same thing. It's the same exact pattern that I was, you know what I mean? And it's just on display and shit. Like, to me, like, and I realized I'd be more embarrassed looking like Hans Kim looks on a week-to-week basis standing on stage than standing on stage saying I'd suck a dick, you know what I mean? And he stood on that stage and said he doesn't like to eat pussy because he doesn't like how it tastes. He doesn't like to get head because girls lick his dick. And he had a groupie in his hotel room, and when he got back to the room, she was too tired to do anything. It's embarrassing to watch. And it's like, I feel bad for him on a week-to-week basis. Now, I don't know what's happening in his bedrooms. You know what I mean? Maybe Hans Kim is there slinging hard pipe all day to these chicks, and it's just what we see on Kill Tony isn't the full story. And I'm wrong, and I'm jumping to conclusions. But I don't think that's the case. He used to talk about chicks saying that you're moving too fast. That's a weird thing for chicks to say you're moving too fast when they're there to hook up, right? But I know why they're saying he's moving too fast. It's the same thing that's happening when I would chill with the chick. It's why I stopped chilling with girls, yo, because it's all platonic. It's not, there's nothing sexual being said. You know what I mean? Like, Hans Kim, if he's at a bar drinking, then yes, he could make out with the girl. You know what I mean? But if there's no liquor in the picture, if it's just walk up to a girl and kick it to her, he can't do it, you know what I mean? I no offense to him, maybe he could, but I can't do it, you know what I mean? And because when you can't do that, when you can't just walk up to a girl and kick it to her, well then if she somehow ends up in your house or in your van and there's no alcohol in the picture, it's not going to be a sexual conversation. Everything is going to be platonic. So then in your head, when like now you're just watching a random movie that's not about anything, and now you're about to make a move, like you're going for a pussy really quickly, and she's not even turned on, and it's everything is wrong with the situation. You know what I mean? It's like she's not turned on. Like it's going from 0 to 100, like without trying to switch gears. Like it's all so obvious. But yeah, Tony Hinchcliffe, he gave Hans Kim the ultimate opportunity. He handed him a life, and that's what I'm hoping he's going to do for me. And then I'll do my minute that I have on. I'm going to do on Kill Tony. I'll do that shit real quick. I think this is like a perfect minute of comedy. I wrote it like 2 weeks ago. It's changed so many times what minute I'm going to do. I have a few minutes about this content that I was going to do a few months ago. I didn't even have a bit about it, but then I wrote one, and then I wrote another one. This one I wrote a few days ago, a couple weeks ago. This is, I think, a perfect minute of stand-up comedy. But like, it's why I don't one of the problems with stand-up. Like, obviously, this situation is unique. It's creating extreme pressure. But like, when I'm on stage delivering this, like, it's how could I be funny? You know what I mean? Even though it's a funny bit, I'm gonna feel so much pressure, and that's another reason why I'm kind of excited to air shit out out now to kind of alleviate some of the pressure. And that's what airing out shit does. It alleviates pressure. And that's the problem with me and chicks. I feel so much pressure. My sexuality is on the line. Everything is on the line, like not embarrassing myself and not ruining her time is there's just so much pressure on the situation when I'm with girls, I feel like. So without alleviating it like that, that's how you break through. Like the pressure causes congestion, you know what I mean? And the anxiety is what causes the pressure. Like I need to alleviate the pressure and then I could break through. That's how I see things. But so on my minute I say, it's a little long, but I say, yeah, so I got a lap dance from a guy the other day and I came in my pants. Few days later, I downloaded the Grindr app. Within an hour, I was getting head in a parking lot. 10 other messages from dudes within a 1 mile radius begging me to suck my dick. You know, it's always looked like the gays are having more fun. After extensive research, I've come to the conclusion that theory is correct. I mean, my life is so gay, I might as well be fucking dudes. I honestly don't think I'm homosexual, but I can't keep going along with this farce that I'm in some stalemate tie with all of y'all for being the straightest motherfucker that's ever lived. Fighting off the gay is exhausting. To tie a ribbon on it, from this point forward, if you're a girl, I don't care about your shitty ass job or your stupid fucking name. All I want to know is what makes your pussy wet and the weirdest shit that turns you on. Start with her. Trip of a lifetime. Let's fucking go. Yeah, so Rogan was the guest last week, and I thought it was destiny. I was like, oh, this is going to be my... And this is what I call, quote-unquote, my moment of destiny. I have waiting on my moment, path of destiny. I have all the concepts before I even knew this moment was going to exist. It's unbelievable how, like, the universe wrote this moment for me and was like, you could bring it to life if you want. But Rogan was there last week. 2 weeks ago. I was like, yo, I might get to do this shit in front of Rogan, and he would have lost his mind if I said fighting off the gay is exhausting. He would have had a heart attack, yo. I would have had to stop the bit so he could get off the floor and stop laughing so I could finish the bit, yeah. But and then last week I knew he was on the week before. I was just feeling pressure. I just wasn't in a good mood. I was just like super in my head. I didn't want to go to Kill Tony. I barely go to Kill Tony episodes. Now I'm about to start going every week to finally get this over with. But like I've had a tough time. Like when I go there, I just feel so much pressure. And that's why I was saying, like, I feel like if you could measure pressure causes cancer. Like, the pressure that I feel Sunday nights and Monday mornings, if I felt that every single day, I'd die of cancer within a year. You know what I mean? That's how much pressure I feel and how unhealthy that feeling must be to feel like that all the time. And that's why I feel like I live a fairly healthy life, because I don't live a life of pressure. That's the only time I feel like I've pushed off all the pressure. I've created this empty existence where I don't have anything that bothers me, but it's all like it's all bubbled up over there, ready to explode. And I feel it when I go to Kill Tony on Mondays, but I'm about to start going every week again. But yeah, so I didn't go last week, and then he was the guest again. Apparently, there was a few guests, and he was one of them. I was like, oh, I fucked it up. But good thing I didn't go, because that now I'm doing this. I'm kind of happy I'm doing this episode to kind of put it out there, because like at the end of the day, I'm be airing this shit out to the public, you know what I mean? So if you see this shit now, you're at the ground level. You're in my private life for the most part. So it's just like I don't mind if these people see it early. Like, let everybody know the situation. Like, I'm proud of where I stand. Like, I'm making progress in life, yo. Like, I'm doing the right thing in my opinion, yo. Like doing what you have to do to keep your soul alive is always the right thing, yo. Your soul wants to stay alive. I think that there might be something to the soul is the aliens, yo. There's a soul within all of us, yo. Like, and it needs to stay alive. It doesn't want to be depressed. It doesn't want its opportunity to close. Like that's another thing. That's why people in their 40s suffer from quote unquote erectile dysfunction because like their souls are dead, yo. Like they're not. If that person, if it's when you have thriving human beings in their 40s, people who are out there living life, like you don't see those people with erectile dysfunction. People are attractive to women. Like a man that's in his 50s that's attractive to women, like if he's still out there going for it in life, he's not suffering from erectile dysfunction. Like I mean, when a dude who's living this miserable life and has nothing going on, and that's who doesn't believe in himself anymore, who's starting to believe he's starting to lose it physically. That's who's going to suffer from erectile dysfunction. All you have to do is believe in yourself, yo. That's all. That's the most important thing, and that's why I think the universe rewards people believing themselves sexually. Like you see people who get shitted on, but for going for it, for being compulsive liars, but they believe in themselves. And as long as you believe in yourself sexually, the universe will reward you because that's attractive when you believe in yourself sexually. And like another thing I forgot to mention before, I think there's a big difference between people who have like my dick it's bigger than average when it's hard, but so small when it's soft, and that's the problem. I think that people who I'd rather have a 5-inch dick soft and a 5.5-inch dick hard than a 2-inch dick soft and a 6.5-inch dick hard, because it just you just feel more confident to girls. You feel like you have something to offer them. If you always have 5 inches in your pocket, it's like, yo, you just wait till you see what's in my pants. You know what I mean? Like when if I'm around a girl, I'm thinking in my head, like, wait till she sees what the fuck is in my pants. Like it's gonna ruin everything. You know what I mean? If she thought she liked me now, like she's just gonna be like, I can't believe I got trapped with this bullshit. But so the whole thing is, I think that people, if your dick is hard, if your dick is big when it's soft and it doesn't grow that much when it's hard, I think those are the people, like they say, some people are showers, some are growers. Like it's a corny line, but it's true. Those are the showers. And I feel like those are people who have false confidence in life. They believe in themselves more than to be better than they are. And then I've always been someone who's had unlocked potential. Everyone's always tried to get the potential out of me. And I think that's what people who have a small dick when they're soft are. They're people but it gets much bigger when they're hard because they have a lot of potential, but they just don't believe in themselves because they know what's going on down there and shit. How's this for a podcast? So, tripping. All right, so back to kind of like the story and stuff. I skipped killed Tony on Monday, which everything in life is a butterfly effect, and that started the butterfly effect. And Tuesday, I always say, like, I don't like driving when it rains. Like, and it's funny because I was talking to my mom about it the other day. She was like, you never had a problem with driving when it rains. I was like, yeah, like, I don't mind driving when it rains if I'm going to the store, going to get something to eat. But I'm talking about driving as my job when it rains. And, like, I didn't get in the accident when I was driving, but I was about to accept a ride. I got lunch, and then I was leaving, and I was right by my apartment, and I was like, yeah, so this is on Tuesday after I skipped the Kill Tony episode on Monday. So if I went, everything would have been different and shit. So fucking Tuesday, I'm driving back and from getting something to eat, and it was wet out and the roads are mad slippery, and it's good this shit happened because it was a wake up call, yo. I'm just too careless when I'm driving, yo, and luckily like it's just no real accident with another car happening and shit. So I had the app on and I'm looking and I'm like, oh, it's a good delivery. I'm gonna accept it, and I know I'm gonna have to go the other way, and there's an exit coming. So I like before I accept the ride, I just and I'm driving normal speeds, and now I'm trying to hit this exit ramp, and it's man slippery out. Like I don't say how I don't get in accidents like that more. I gotta be more fucking careful. Like the second I start cutting the wheel, I lost control of the car. I knew it was gonna happen and shit. I was like, fuck. And like I could just feel shit was about to go down. And like at this point I had no, like I'm it's an exit ramp. So I cut to go to the exit ramp. I totally lose control of the car. I see a curb in front of me and a sign right like above the curb. And I'm like, oh shit, I might hit the sign. So I'm just bracing for impact and I smash the curb. But then like I just kind of bounce off of it. I'm like, oh, what a blessing, yo. So then I'm trying to drive away and the car won't drive. I'm like, oh, it won't drive. Like I can kind of drive, but it won't. I'm like, oh, my shit's fucked up. But so fucking when I couldn't drive, I called a towing company. So I'm sitting on the side of the road. I'm thinking like steering alignment or something, or maybe the wheel came off or something. Like, so I'm looking at Google and it says if what happens if you I'm like I Google what happens if you hit a curb, and it's the worst thing that can happen is it could bend your suspension. I'm like, oh, it definitely bent my suspension. Like, how could it not have? Like, my car won't even drive. Like, the way I bounced off, like, how could nothing have been bent there? So I get towed. I call it Midas. I tell them, here's all right, cool. We'll let you know what type of damage you did to your car. $2,200. So I had to go through insurance company. Plus, I can't work right now because my car's in the shop, yo. So I dropped the car off. So, and I was planning on going to Mike's that night, and I was like, I'm not fucking going no Mike's, yo. And then I was like, yo, I'm tripping tomorrow. I was in a bad mood. I was like, let me get something good out of this. And it was a wake up call, so I got something good out of it. It's gonna cost me $500 deductible plus my insurance will go up, but it was a wake-up call that cars are extremely fucking dangerous. You have to be more careful, specifically when it's slippery out. When it's wet out on the road, you can't be in autopilot mode when you're driving. That's just a fact of life. So I was like, yo, I'm tripping tomorrow. So I've had these mushrooms for a while. I got these mushrooms before I moved out to Austin, before I went to the Airbnb. I grabbed them in December. No, in November, but before I moved out to, before I was in the Airbnb. So I planned on tripping when I was in the Airbnb because I thought I was going to get a serving job when I moved back out there. And I kind of just wanted to trip when I was in the Airbnb on my own frequency. I was like, why not? There's a perfect time to trip. I got an eighth of mushrooms. I was going to even eat the whole thing. And then when I was in the Airbnb, I sensed, I was like, oh, I'm going manic. You know? I was like, yo, my energy's crazy. And I was like, yo, this is amazing. And I was like, oh, and then like next thing you know, I lost my mind and I was manic. But like when I'm lost my mind and I'm manic, I'm still living life for like a couple weeks and shit. And like I'm in my apartment just cracking up. Yo, like imagine I eat those shrooms right now. I would like, I say comedy doesn't make me laugh. When I was manic and I was thinking about eating mushrooms, that made me cry laughing. I'm like, imagine I ate those mushrooms right now. My body would humanly combust, yo. I would literally explode out of energy, yo. Because that's what this whole thing is. It's all energy, yo. That's what my existence represents. How important energy is in life. When you eat mushrooms, you're basically taking a hit of energy. When you go manic, your energy is just at a high level. It's all about energy. When your energy gets extremely high, the reality around you changes and shit, and everything is different. So, but I knew that the energy that you feel when you're manic, I think, you know, I mean, these are my theories. The energy that you feel when you're manic goes hand in hand with the energy you feel when you're on mushrooms. So it's like, you can't eat mushrooms when you're manic, you know, it wouldn't even make sense. Like you have that feeling already. You're already out there tripping and shit. Like I was really tripping off energy. That shit's not a joke, yo. And now you see sane worm, like back to normal. Like I'm not crazy, or maybe I am crazy. You know what I mean? But when I was out there and everyone thought I was crazy, I was like, nah, I didn't go crazy. I went normal, and all y'all are crazy. And like I said it before, like if there's a higher consciousness that could communicate with us through telepathy, who's it going to communicate with? The people who society deems as outcasts, the people who are quote unquote on drugs, or people who are quote unquote crazy. That's who they're going to telepathically communicate with the most. You know what I mean? Or autistic people. You know what I mean? Those are the people who are going to get the real communication from the higher consciousness, not the president of the United States. That's not who the higher consciousness is going to communicate with. So I got the mushrooms then. I couldn't trip. I go manic. I lose my mind. I end up in an institution. I still had the mushrooms and shit. I come back to Austin now, and eating the mushrooms hadn't really been on my mind. I was gonna save it. I was saving them for after I got on Kill Tony. I figured once I add my shit out publicly, I would eat the mushrooms and shit. But I wanted to make the best out of the car crash. So I was like, I'll trip and I'll see what the universe has for me, yo. I know the universe wants to tell me something. It always does, and I know the mission I'm on. It's been a while since I tripped. The last time I tripped was a year ago. It was exactly a year ago, which is crazy. It was right before I got rid of my apartment in Florida, and I tripped off these same type of mushrooms, and I only ate a half an eighth that time, and I had a really good trip. I went crazy. I was convinced that planet Earth is a slave ship where we're at a lower frequency existence where we do all the work for the aliens. Still think it's right. But so I tripped then. I hit a high level that trip. It was a really good trip. It was a trip of a lifetime. So then that was a year ago. So definitely I'm ready for another trip. I like to trip about once a year. I was gonna eat half of an eighth, but I've had these mushrooms for so long. I threw them on a scale to see if they still weighed out an eighth, and it was down to 2.3 grams. So I was because shrooms are made of water, so they lose weight. So I was like, I'll just eat the whole 2.3 grams. So that's what I did. I wanted to kind of chase the dragon. I wanted to feel that manic feeling. That's kind of what I was going for. And I in the Airbnb I was on 24th Street. So I was like, yo, I'm walking back to that area. So that was the plan to trip. I like to trip in the during the daytime. So I was like, yo, I'll wake up, I'll eat the shrooms, and then I'll head to 24th Street. I'll just walk over there. And then by the time hopefully it'll kick in when I'm over there and I'll be like basically I'll try to analyze, make sense of everything that was happening when I was manic. See if I hit the same exact state. See if I just try to see what I see. You know what I mean? Like see if the mushrooms show me the same shit that the manic state of mind brought me to. So I eat the mushrooms. They were gross. I could tell they were a little soggy. Like they kept good form though for 7 months. They were good shrooms. I start walking over to 24th Street. It's unbelievable. When you trip on mushrooms, weird shit fucking happens. It always does. I wasn't even tripping yet, so it's not like it was a weird thing that happened when I was tripping. But I'm walking 24th Street, and some guy, he's like, "Hey, excuse me." Say, "Hey, I think I know you." I was thinking like, I don't know who the fuck this dude thinks I am, but I am not who he thinks I am. Yeah. So he was like, "Are you a comedian?" I was like, "Oh my god, this guy might actually know me." I was like, "Yeah, I'm more of a rapper, but I do comedy." He was like, "Yeah, I saw you on Kill Tony." I'm like, "Oh my god, yo, this guy knows exactly who the fuck he's speaking to right now. This is incredible, yeah." So we had like a quick 1 minute conversation. He was a nice dude, and I was like, "Yo, I just ate some mushrooms, dog," and so we just went on our own ways. But like, and that's another reason I want I want this what I want. I want to be known because I like that. I like when people come up to me and know me for who I am. Like, I don't like if I'm at a bar and some random dude next to me just starts fucking talking my ear off when I'm trying to fuck, like a bar, like sitting down to eat. When I'm trying to eat my meal, this dude fucking yapping my ear off. Like, dude, just go suck a dick. You know what I mean? Like, why the fuck you want to talk to me? You probably just want to suck my dick. Just go. You lived this whole life without sucking a dick. If you want to talk to some random dude next to you that badly, you probably want to suck his dick. You know what I mean? Because like, I'll be talking to random people next to me and shit. I don't know why anybody wants to talk to the random person sitting at a bar next to them unless they want to hook up with them. You know what I mean? But but what I do like in life is if people know me, I like when they want to speak to me because they know me. It's like, oh, I know who you are. Like, I like what you do. Like, that's why I feel like if I get what I want, it will connect me to others. You know what I mean? It's something I'm going to go to. Like, one of the messages I get on my trips, like how important connection to others is and how disconnected I am as a human being. But that's why, like, I feel like people think I'm so lost out here. But that's what I know that getting what I want through fame, through like being known. Like I hate the word fame, but getting what I want through that is going to help me connect me to others. It's going to give me, it's going to reignite my relationships in my personal life, because like I would never be like, oh, people just want to talk to me now because I'm famous. But that's actually what I want. Like I don't do those catch up conversations because they're boring. But like, yo, if I get my shit popping, let's do the catch up conversation. You know what I mean? Like let's have a conversation with a spark to it. But forget what my whole point was. Oh, but it's just connection to others. So like if I get my shit popping, it'll reconnect me to the people in my personal life, and then it'll just connect me to people around me that I don't want to talk to on a daily basis. Because when I go places, I don't want to talk to people and shit. But like, if everybody likes what I do, then yeah, I do want to talk to people and shit. So that happened. I passed this dude, and then I go to 24th Street, and right as I'm getting 24th Street, I start getting visuals. I'm like, oh, it's perfect. It's kicking in right now. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. The trip didn't. I didn't trip that hard, but it it was exactly what I needed to trip. It basically my trips are more mental. It's more in my head. Like I just see things in my head. Like I just it's like a highlighter. It just shows me what's wrong with myself as a person and shit. Some visuals and like that's another thing. Like when I used to go through a series of trips, like and the whole gay thing, like the reason I mention it is like, let me break this down. Let's see how much. Yeah, I got plenty of time. When I was younger, I jerked off too young. We all do. We all start jerking off too young. I started jerking off when I'm what 12 years old, 11 years old. Before I went through puberty, before I ever felt what it was like to be aroused around a human being and shit. Like the first time I ever felt aroused in real life was working at the Cheesecake Factory. The chicks that come in and eat at the Cheesecake Factory are really hot, and that was the first time I've ever felt like my dick get hard in a real life situation from being around someone that I thought was attractive and shit. But so the start jerking off when you're like 12 years old. What are you jerking off to? You know what I mean? You're a 12-year-old kid who hasn't gone through puberty, has never felt arousal in his life, jerking off to Playboys back then, 2D images. I don't know what tits feel like. So what am I? I'm jerking off to those perfect circular tits, which are the grossest thing in the world to me. No offense to any girls that have them. I don't understand why any girls wear those perfect circular fake tits. They're stupid. You could have fake tits. I don't like fake tits, but you could have fake tits. But those perfect circular ones that are hard to touch are disgusting, yo. But so that's a lot of what you're jerking off to when you're jerking off to Playboys. Those are all fake tits and photoshopped images of a girl double your age who could never be aroused by you. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing to turn you on. And I would come to friction. You know what I mean? I wouldn't back then. I wasn't getting hard. You know what I mean? And back then I used to think my problem was I didn't always come. But then I realized when I got a little older that I was not coming. I wasn't getting hard. That's what was going on. Why was I not getting hard? Because there was nothing to turn me on. And the universe doesn't want Sterm worm at 11 years old getting hard. Because if I was walking around aroused all the time with a hard dick, then what would I do? I would try to fuck things. I would try to have sex with girls, and I would procreate way too young, way before my time, and it would just become, it would be a mess. You know what I mean? And that's why 11-year-old Sternworm isn't supposed to get his dick hard. So then what happens? I had a Penthouse. It was a dirtier magazine. So they had in the back of it, they have like 800 numbers that you could call and shit, like where it's like, but under the 800 numbers, those images are usually, it's hotter chicks. Like those are the chicks that I like to jerk off to back then. Those were my favorite things to jerk off to. And then there was like a dude, and I'm like, oh, I like quickly switched page. I was like offended. I was like, what the fuck is that shit doing in here? Curiosity killed the cat, you know what I mean? I went back, I looked at the image, and it was just the most sexual image you've ever seen in your life. It's this dude, chiseled fucking abs, fucking tidy whities with a fucking pipe, like fucking rock hard. He's holding it in his hands, drenched in sweat. He has a fucking like one of those like gel curls like fucking going down his face. It's basically like, it's like the image of sex. You know what I mean? Like if my life was on the line, I had to have sex with that guy, or I had to fuck one of these Karens that complains when they're in restaurants with the short hair. Like, I mean, if my life was on the line, I'm hooking up with that dude. You know what I mean? Like that's just how it goes and shit. But so this, it's an extremely sexual image and shit. And it's the first thing I ever never connected to sexually because it's naughty, you know what I mean? It's that dirty shit and it's a sexual image. So next thing you know, I'm spraying cum everywhere and I'm like, oh shit, yo. And I knew at that age I had a problem. And like I sat there, I was like, what the fuck was that, yo? I didn't know what to do. But then what happened? Like I was later that night, I was like, yo, I gotta do that shit again. You know what I mean? Because it was the first time I ever was really turned on and shit. And that's what the universe does to you because you're not supposed to be jerking off at that young of an age and shit. So, and that's the pattern. That's a bad pattern starting from all the way back then. Like starting to jerk off without being attached to arousal. That was the beginning of my bad pattern and shit. So ever since then, I've always had an issue internally and shit. And I never knew what was up because I'm not attracted to any of my friends. You know what I mean? Like I've never had a homosexual thought in my life. Being gay was never a thought in my head growing up. So like that threw me off. So I thought like I was like, it's just a one-time thing. But I knew it wasn't gonna be a one-time thing because I'm like, yo, what am I gonna do? Suppress? Then that's what it is. You suppress it. It's just like for years, I didn't have good jerk offs, you know what I mean? And then what happens is like I start entering. This is in high school. I'm entering into trying to talk to girls, and like it's never gonna work. You know what I mean? I'm not right internally. You know what I mean? Like these girls aren't gonna be my savior and shit, and they without knowing what's going on internally with me, what's internal manifests externally and shit, and they knew that I was gonna get the job done. You know what I mean? And this shit's all performance, yo. Like this is all. This is how people's athletic ability and sexual performance, it goes hand in hand. Like, I mean, you could perform well sexually without being good athletically, but it's connected and shit. But so like it's friends, my friends who are better athletes. Those are the ones getting the girls in high school for the most part. There's a couple of dudes who got chicks that weren't athletic and shit, but like it's the dudes who chicks knew were gonna get the job done, who turned them on. Not someone like me who was just lost, you know what I mean? So I'm internally lost, and that's another thing. Like I'm professing these chicks that they're my one and only, you know what I mean? And that's not what turns me on in life. Like that intimate, like I like intimacy with, like I think intimacy with girls is essential when you're hooking up with them. But I don't mean like you're my one and only intimacy. You know what I mean? I mean like to be intimately connected and shit. To like to actually be present in the moment is extremely important. But I'm not. I get turned when I have feelings for a girl, like emotional feelings, like when I have those, I call them gay feelings. Like that's that gay shit. Like, cause it's my best premise. There's four different types of existences: the straight heterosexual life, the gay heterosexual life, the straight homosexual life, and the gay homosexual life. That's my premise. It's a gem, yo. But I live a gay heterosexual life, and that's what I'm trying to do with these girls. It's a gay heterosexual life where like I'm more into the intimacy with them than I am thinking about bending them over and fucking the shit out of them. And that's what it was in high school with girls. Like I was like mad. I would try to profess like you're my one, you know what I mean? Like and they're like they're fucking my friend that night, you know what I mean? And not behind my back. Like it's they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're girls living their lives and shit. But so I've always had that with me, and then I don't get my feet wet in high school with girls, and then college. Like now, before I go out, like I'm drinking, taking 10 shots of vodka, like not doing my shots, but drinking mixed drinks for like 2-3 hours before I go out because to face girls, you know what I mean? And when you're that disconnected before you go out, you're done, yo. You think you're gonna lay pipe to that girl, yo? You're scared to even walk up to girls, yo. Like you can't expect that you're gonna be present in the moment sexually. And everything that I am as a human being, everything you get on this podcast, the passion, the freedom. The passion and freedom are two extremely extreme turn-ons, and neither one of them, when I'm a closeted human being with girls, I'm not free. It's the opposite. And that's what the nice guys. The nice guy's just closeted. He just hasn't freed his energy and shit. And that's why it's not attractive to a girl, because they know it's not going to be fun when you're with someone who's closeted. And then so freedom and passion, those are two extreme turn-ons with girls. And I'm not that when I'm with girls, because I'm not present in the moment and shit. So it was, once hookups with girls start happening, I knew I wasn't gonna get hard. I knew they weren't gonna go right, and I didn't want to waste girls' times. I was like, yo, I'm done. Like, I'm done embarrassing myself putting this this soft dick in a girl's mouth. And you can't put a soft dick in a girl's mouth and like some dudes could. I can't. I need I need my shit to get kind of hard before I put it in a girl's mouth. Otherwise, it's not the same thing. Like, and it's funny because like when like I got head from a dude, my dick was soft then also. You know what I mean? Like you need because it was just in a parking lot. The dude just put it right in his mouth. Like it was stupid, yo. And like it's when it's a soft dick, it does when you're getting head, it doesn't feel good, yo. And that's why Hans Ken doesn't like blowjobs because it's like when it's soft, it's like they're just like it's like they're like slurping it. You know what I mean? It's not like and then right before I came, I could feel my dick actually got hard, and those 2 seconds it felt mad good because no matter what, whether it's a girl's mouth or a guy's mouth, if you have a mouth on your penis going like on your hard cock going up and down, it's gonna feel good. Like that's just the truth of existence and shit. Like I mean, man, people keep their eyes closed during a head. You know what I mean? Like it'd be anyone giving a head at that point. But and that's I like to like when I start actually hooking up with girls, I want to like look at them and shit. And like what happened when I had hookups in college, like I would just go right to turning the light off. And that's another thing. I can't do no fucking manila ass hookups, yo. And that's what I was doing. I set up fucking manila ass hookups and shit. But like turning the light off, like I want a girl that I think is hot that I want to look at, yo. Like I don't want to not see what's going on. So, but the point is that's what I did. I checked out of the game because I was like, I'm not wasting any girls' times and shit. And then when I started rapping, I was like, oh shit, yo, I'm never gonna be able to get myself right with girls because I saw how hard the process was gonna be to learn how to rap. And when I was at Roach's house once, like, and him and Chano Jamil was telling me how to get on beat, and I was like, dude, like we were there till like 5 a.m. I was like, yo, you're just hitting me with a lot. They're like, we're really not hitting you with that much. Like we're just saying it's a process you're gonna have to learn. But I didn't tell them was what you're really showing me is I'm never gonna get right with girls because this is the process that has to happen with girls. But I don't. No girl is gonna work with me through this process. Rapping on beat, you do it by yourself. You can practice by yourself. But with girls, you have to do it with another girl. And no girl is going to waste their time and shit, like trying to figure myself out. And so I checked out of the game with girls when I was like 20 years old. It's crazy. I have a bit about like that. I've tried to touch a girl for 15 years, but it's over. I was like in like 15 years, but it's over. It's like 17 years now. It's been like 19 years old, 20 years old since last time I tried. Probably 19, probably 20, and now I'm 37. And so I checked out of the game. I started tripping all the time, and Rogan knows there's no such thing as a bad trip. The only reason there's bad trips is because you're not right within. So when I start tripping all the time, the message was clear to me. You're not right within. I would get radiating pink in my screen, visuals of pink. I would hear a message like, you have a community. You have a community. And I'm just like sitting there in denial, like thinking, I think I'm gay. I think that's the message it's telling me. But here's what happens with mushrooms. When I'm tripping and I'm like, I'm just fucking gay. The message changes. And it's because it just wants me to accept that I'm not like the message I've learned from shrooms is I'm not gay. I'm just not gay. You know what I mean? I'm just me, yo. Like I don't even consider myself bisexual. I'm just a human being, yo. Like it's just that's the message I get from shrooms. But I had years of eating mushrooms and just battling it and just like trying to figure out and just soul searching and shit. But so that's why I don't like tripping with people. That's why I like trip by myself because I don't like people to interfere with it. I feel like I'm not one when I'm with. I feel like I'm a fake person when I'm on shrooms, and because of that, I don't like to trip with other people and shit. I don't like them to see it, you know what I mean? I like to do that work by myself and shit. But so that's what the message was for a while. And the reason I brought it back to that was because when I was on 24th Street, it was people were going to class, and I was like, oh shit, yo, it's crazy. I'm out here tripping. Everybody's like just walking because that's where Texas University is. Yo. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Everybody's walking to class right now, and I'm out here tripping, yo. But there was just so many fine ass bitches, yo. And like it's funny because the girl I worked with, I was talking about how hot the host was. She was like, "You think she's hot?" I was like, "You don't." And she was like, "She's like 18 years old." I was like, "Yeah, she's 18 years old." You know what I mean? Like to me, like that doesn't sound crazy because like I'm paralyzed sexually. Like I'm still younger than her sexually. Sexually, I'm still like 14. I'm at 15. You know what I mean? Like an 18-year-old girl is way more advanced sexually than me. She's way more where she needs to be sexually than I am. So the fact that I'm still attracted to 18-year-old girls, it's not a weird thing at all. Plus, like I like to play off of a creepy dynamic sexually. Like to me, like it's just it turns me on to feel creepy. So I like the idea of like fucking with like an 18, 19-year-old chick right now. 20. I like the idea of 21 because then if you meet them at a bar, you know like they straight up they age. You know what I mean? I'm walking on these streets and shit, and I'm just like, all I want to do is fuck these bitches. You know, I'm like, yo, these bitches are so fun. And like, I'm laughing. I'm like, I'm so sure I'm a homosexual human being. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm thinking when like I'm out there tripping and shit. And that's why I know I've made so much progress internally and shit like that. I could just walk around and just not get bad messages internally. So. And maybe I am, you know what I mean? Maybe I'm just the most in denial homosexual ever and shit, and that's what's going on and shit. But I don't think that's the case. I always say, like, I say I'm either the most honest motherfucker ever, the most in denial motherfucker ever, or just like a combination of the two. Now I'm by myself with my own thoughts and shit, and I'm just walking around, and now the trip is like full blast trip and shit. And I'm just the messages I'm getting are just obvious. It's just that how self-centered I am. I'm an extremely self-centered person, and that's why my life is so void of love. Um, I, and it's because like it's just I care about myself. You know what I mean? Like I just that's just what it is. Like I want to care about other people, but I just care about myself, and it's a problem with me. All my relationships revolve around what I need out of somebody and shit. And it is what it is. And like, I don't do it purposely, but it's obvious in the way that my relationships are, you know what I mean? It's just obvious that people sense how self-centered I am. And so like, I just live an empty life, but I like it like that. Like, I don't want to show people all the time, but like, you guys would be shocked if you saw how my phone never rings. Like I'm telling you, other than my parents and like 800 numbers, other than like in the last 10 years, I probably got it like 5 phone calls. You know, I have one friend who calls and stays in touch. I have like a couple, you know what I mean? But like not even like, and I'm not like, oh, no one ever calls me. It's because it's a two-way street. I don't call nobody. They don't call me. It's just a type of dynamic of the relationships. But I don't, what I hope is no one resents me for it, you know what I mean? Because it's all love when I do talk to people and shit. It's not like it's like, oh, where have you been? It's like, nah, yo, like everyone's doing their own thing. Like there's nothing to talk about. Like if you have something to talk about, hit me up and let's talk about it and shit. But so like a theory that I have is it's being self-centered is very unattractive to other people, and you could tell how attractive you are as a person, not by how look when you look in a mirror. You could tell how attractive you are as a person by your phone activity, how much incoming phone activity you have, and how much outgoing phone activity you have. If you have a lot of incoming phone activity, that means you're attractive to a lot of people, or a lot of people need you, but that's attractive if they need you. You know what I mean? You're doing something right. If you have a lot of outgoing phone activity, that means you're extremely needy. Now, there's nothing wrong with calling people and saying hi. Just because you call people and say hi, show you love people, we need someone for something, that doesn't mean you're needy. It's just you need a balance of the two. You don't want a lot more outgoing phone activity than incoming phone activity. That means you're a little needier than you should be. This thing with me is I don't have any phone activity. I don't have any outgoing, I have any income. You know, so I have a good balance. It's just way too low. You know what I mean? But the fact that it's a good thing that I'm not like constantly calling people. You know what I mean? It's the fact, but that would get people calling me. But it's just I'm not a needy person. The only way I need you is if I need you for something. You know, and that's why I like needing people for stuff. I like staying in touch with people because I like people. It's just I fall out with people. It's just once we have nothing going on, we just kind of go our separate ways. But it's always all love. So the other thing is how I'm self-centered, and how what really matters in life is your connection to other people. And that's, and how I just don't have a connection to other people. I've kind of, it's builds on what I was just saying. You know what I mean? It's just, I just, like I've been in Austin for 7 months, and no one's been in my apartment, and I like it like that. You know what I mean? When I have someone's about to come over, I'm like, oh, like to me, it's just like it's a headache when if I have to chill with someone. Like I love not having anybody come to the apartment, but it's just, it's not the right way to live life. It's just to be when you're in your prime as a human being and you're so disconnected. Because if I'm just disconnected as 37, if I don't get my shit popping through content and I just keep traveling the same pattern of life at 80 years old, imagine how disconnected I'm gonna be. So it just, the time to change it would be now. And that's what mushroom shows me. Yo. It shows me that man up or perish. You know what I mean? It shows me that time is waits for no man. You have your life in front of you right now, and you have to do something about it and shit. And then also it another message that I've always gotten from mushrooms. It's not that this trip specifically gave it to me, but it's, if you internally suppress, it manifests externally on the surface. And that's if you're gonna learn one thing from me, learn that. If you're internally suppressing something, it's externally manifesting on the surface. If there's stuff externally manifesting on the surface, then you have to look inward and you have to figure out what's happening internally that's making that happen on the surface. And for me, it's, I'm obsessed with the truth of my sexuality. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. I'm closeted internally, and therefore it's, I mean, I'm closeted externally. So I just, you know what I'm trying to say. It manifests on the surface that no one sees me as free energy, like girls, like, and why do you think I look so attractive when I'm in this podcast? You know what I mean? Why do you think I look so attractive when I'm on stage? Because I see it, I'm like, yeah, that's an attractive person. Because I believe in myself and I'm free. You know what I mean? Like, and when I'm in this art form, I'm free. Like, this is me being me, and that's what's when when you're authentic, that's attractive. You know what I mean? And that's why, like, I get into it with people that when I call myself a loser, and they're like, don't ever say that about yourself. I'm like, yo, like, that's fine. It's good that I'm calling myself a loser. Like that, if you want to start winning in life, you gotta look in the mirror and recognize the loser. You know what I mean? You gotta recognize when you're losing. If girls don't want to be around you, if you're a guy, it's because you losing. It's because you're a fucking loser. You know what I mean? And like you got to change yourself within. It doesn't mean inherently I'm a loser. It just means on the surface I'm a loser because I'm not. I'm just, I'm not right within, and that's what. But all you got to do is change that, and that's what I'm in the process of doing and shit. So when I was on 24th Street, I knew it was gonna happen. I was like, "Fuck, man!" Like, I I walked mad far over there, and then like I'm tripping, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm so fucking. My legs are tired." I kept stopping at benches to just sit down, and it was just like interfering with the trip. I was like, "Yo, I just want to get back to my apartment, yo." So I had mad far to walk back to the apartment, and then I was looking at the. Usually the trips I'm not sure if I mentioned they kick into second gear. This one never kicked into that second gear, but I'm always ready to give up on the trip before they're over, like after the first wave. Because even if it does kick into second gear, it always comes in waves and shit. So I was like, yo, I'm stuck out here. So I started like I started walking back, and I started looking at the phone schedule. I mean, the bus schedule on the phone. And then I realized it would take me as long to like wait for the bus as just to walk back. Cause it would take like, it was another half hour before the bus was coming. So I walked back to my apartment, got back to my apartment. I was like, oh, I'm out here tripping. But then the other thing is I walk into my apartment and I'm like, holy shit. It looked like a third world country. I'm like, yo, it's disgusting in here. So then I'm tripping off mushrooms, fucking trying to like clean my apartment, like not knowing what's going on. I'm like, oh, I can't do this shit right now. But like it's because like I don't, you get trapped in patterns and then you don't see it. You know what I mean? Like you throw you, put clothes on the couch because you know it's not dirty, but you don't want to hang it up because it's not like clean. So I leave it there. Next thing you know, there's mad clothes on the couch. Fucking, I don't. When do you think the last time Sterm Worm scrubbed his toilet is? You know what I mean? I don't fucking scrub my toilet. I'm like, oh, it's got nasty residue everywhere. I'm fucking like wiping it down with the fucking sponge and shit. When do you think the last time Sterm Worm dusted was? You know what I mean? Like, I don't fucking dust shit. The whole apartment is dusty as motherfucker. By where I shave, there's hair everywhere. Fucking toothpaste on the fucking, like, on the thing or whatever, like you know what I'm talking about, dried up on the sink. Then where my kitchen sink is all black because fucking I dumped my bong water out over there, and then like the residue it stains up the white shit. It was. I was like, yo, this place is disgusting. So I started cleaning it and shit. But then, like, once you're not tripping anymore, you're like, it's not as bad as I thought it was. But I did get it a little bit better. I did work on when I was tripping and shit. This is the thing I'm most excited to talk about this episode. I went to Amy's Ice Cream, tripping. And it just made me think, like, how ridiculous this Matrix is, how not real and how everything is. That, Sterm Worm tripping off of mushrooms at 11:30 in the morning can go get a hand-packed cup of ice cream. How stupid is that shit? I talk about jobs that are unnecessary. How unnecessary is it that someone's waking up at 10:30 getting to work 10:30 or 11 in the morning to serve ice cream to some kid tripping off of mushrooms? Who else in the country is really going for ice cream at that time? And like what I was saying, like you can't put a ban on serving ice cream at 11 in the morning just because I'm tripping off mushrooms and I go get ice cream. But why are ice cream places open at 11 in the morning? You know what I mean? How do you think society's ever going to reach utopia if let's say there's 200 ice cream shops in each state on average. That's 10,000 ice cream shops in the country. That's 10,000 people going in the morning every single day to open up an ice cream shop. How fucking useless is that? You know what I mean? If everyone band together and built infrastructure, like, would there be so much homeless? You know what I mean? Like, and that's how we reach utopia, by getting rid of worthless jobs and by doing shit and it's just a pattern. We're stuck in this society because this is what capitalism. Like, if people want ice cream, you can't tell people ice cream places they can't open till 5 o'clock because it's counterproductive to serve people a hand-packed ice cream at 11:30. But I mean, it's not moving society forward, and it's just a bad pattern that society's trapped in, that this matrix exists and everyone's trapped in the pattern they're in. Like, this person has to go scoop this ice cream because they're doing it because they're getting paid to do it and they need to pay rent. So I talk about being controlled. I talk about in this podcast on episodes that haven't dropped yet, so you haven't seen it, but how there's low frequency existences. So the lowest frequency existence is being trapped in drama. The next lowest frequency existence is being trapped in bullshit. And then the frequency I'm in is being controlled by money. That's the next lowest frequency. So when I was tripping off mushrooms, and the crazy thing about Amy's Ice Cream is they have hallucinogenic mushrooms painted in the window. Yo, I saw that shit yesterday when I went there. I was like, oh my God, yo, like, it's destiny that I ended up in this place. So I'm tripping off of mushrooms, eating my ice cream, thinking how ridiculous the world is at that moment. And then what do I see? I see some guy walk in. He's clearly working for DoorDash or Uber Eats. He's staring at his phone. He walks to this cooler because he knows he knows that that's where he gets a pickup from. He grabs it. He wipes on his phone. He starts leaving the ice cream place, and he's looking at his phone. And then, like, this is what it looked like to me. I don't know whether I'm right or wrong about it, but it looked like he was walking to his car because he swiped for next delivery. And then he realized the next delivery was next door. So then I see him walking towards his car, and then he switch his route to go next door real quick. So I've been that guy. In his universe, I talk about alternate universes in different dimensions. In his universe at that time, he's just working. He's just doing his Uber Eats order. Well, from my vantage point, to say it looked like he was controlled by money would be the understatement of the century. they talk about free will. It looked like he had no free will. He was under total control. It was like a force was controlling him. When I see this guy, all I see is him dart into the place and move out and then move this way. It was unbelievable. And it's the pattern of being controlled by money. And it looks so obvious that it looked like he was in autopilot mode, that like from my vantage point with him, it's really obvious in that situation. It's not as obvious when it's people who go to work every single day. But like, let's say you go to work, you a manager at a restaurant, you work a 9 to 5. It's the same thing. It's a slower pattern. It's a slower commute. It's a longer day at work. It's not as obvious as this guy who's door dashing right in front of me, who's just like moving this way, moving that way, controlled by money. But it's the same pattern. If there's a higher frequency that's observing us, they see you commuting to work as not controlling your life. You know what I mean? It's like you're just and not saying you're not in control of your life, but you're just in autopilot mode and shit. And you're just controlled by a pattern. And that's what I think, alternate universe, one of the things with alternate universes is like, this guy was in a different universe as me at that time. You know what I mean? And pretty sure when I was tripping off mushrooms, thinking about the truth of existence, I was in a real universe. And this guy in that moment being controlled by money was in the fake universe. You know what I mean? Where it's just, and you have to pay rent. So we're trapped in a fake universe. But who doesn't have to pay rent? The homeless. And that's why I think they're living in the real universe. You know? The homeless are out there manic, living in the real world, controlling their own lives. You know what I mean? They're the ones who are living with free will. The people who are trapped in their patterns are the ones who live without free will. And I think free will exists when you break your pattern. But maybe breaking a pattern is destiny, and then you still have no free will. I don't know, but I know I saw a dime on the ground today. I was about to pick it up because that's what I do. I pick up money when I see it on the ground, but that's being controlled by money. You know what I mean? Like if there's a higher consciousness studying me, if it knows there's a coin on the ground in front of me, it knows I'm going to go grab it. It knows that I have no control to walk past it. So maybe that's where free will is, to control that. It worked out pretty perfect with the timing. I got a few minutes left. It's going to be crazy when I put this episode out. But that's what's going to happen. No one cares. Everybody has their own fucking lives. No one's going to be that worried about it. They'll watch a couple clips and then the world will go like usual. But yeah, so everybody thinks that Austin, Texas is where the future of comedy is. That's where everybody thinks is happening right now. But I think what's happening right now is this is where the future of content is. It's just, people think it's what I would say with how hard it is to get your shit heard online. But when you're in the right place, it's not going to be as hard. And the point is, you have to centralize yourself around the people around like-minded people who have the platform and shit. And so that's why the people, and there's so many people out here in the comedy universe who are podcasting, and they're all doing everything the right way because they're creating their content and shit. But those same people, like, they're on the right path. If they were doing it in Arizona, they wouldn't be on the right path. You know what I mean? Like, they would be doing things cool, but they wouldn't be on the path to success. You know what I mean? And I think that the people who are out here right now creating content and putting it online are on a path to success. So I'm going to put this episode out, and then I'm going to go to Kill Tony every single week, and then air everything out there. I'll feel less pressure now because at least I've and that's what it is in life. You have to alleviate pressure, and that's what I'm doing right now. Like, how could I have fun with a girl if I feel so much pressure on the situation? It's just not possible. And that's what I realized in life. Like, I was never excited with girls because of just what the situation was, like how just so much fear around the moment, so much pressure to perform and shit. And that's why I wouldn't, everyone's like, you got to get on dating sites, you got to get on dating sites. Nah, I don't, yo, because I can't send that empty shell out on dates, yo. That shell, that fucking, when I know I have a date, like I'll be nervous the whole week until the date and shit. And then that date, the day of the date, I'm like, oh my, like I can't even breathe. Like I'm like, yo, like how, imagine like, going home like with a girl like that, it's not getting lucky. It's like you want everything but to go home. You know what I mean? Because it's like it's two parts of it. It's like, first of all, you know the date's not going to go well because you're so nervous for it. You're just going to sit there and ask her 21 questions. When it's probably a girl that I'm not even that attracted to, that I barely want to fuck in the first place. And then if it does go well, which it has to be a low quality girl for it to go well, because any girl could see through my bullshit, and any girl that's actually out there who's sexy. And then if it goes well, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna go home with her, and then what? You know what I mean? I'm just gonna feel my world crashing down on me. So it just, I realized I had to throw a wrench into the formula. But I'm in the perfect place going forward, yo, because I'm in Austin, Texas, where all these bachelorette parties are, and I'm. That's what I'm trying to do the rest of my life, yo. Like, if I get my shit popping, like, all I want to do, like, not the bachelorette, like, I'm not trying to fuck with chicks that have a man, you know what I mean? All these bachelorette parties bring these fucking dimes here, yo, and there are, oh my God, yo, like, it's exactly what I want in life, you know what I mean? Like, and like, what I realized is, like, when I'm around, like, when I know a girl, I'm not as sexually attracted to her as when, like, I first see a girl who's dressed up all slutty as shit. I'm like, yo, she wants dick, you know what I mean? And like a girl who's like in I want dick mode, you know what I mean? Like, that's the type of chicks that like I find sexy. Those are the type of girls I want. And chicks that come here on bachelorette parties, a lot of them are kind of in that mode and shit. Like, and it's the way I see it is, if I get my shit popping through content, then like chicks could be coming down here on bachelorette parties, like being like, yo, I hope I find Sterm. You know what I mean? Like, that's ultimately what I want. And that's what I want to turn my OnlyFans account into. Right now, I want the OnlyFans account, what it represents is, I want chicks, I want everyone to look at, just so like you could see, like I'll post on my Instagram like a link, I'll do the link tree so like people could get to it easy, so chicks could see what my dick looks like soft and when it looks like hard. So it's like, now like a chick that wants to fuck with me, there's no surprises, you know what I mean? It's like, it's, instead of being nervous that I'm gonna show her a soft dick, it's just like, yo, we in this together, you know what I mean? Like, we're not gonna take my pants off until I'm hard. And at the end of the day, like, I don't know how hookups work, but it just seems like everything is so wrong these days. Because, like, yo, to me, if a dude comes quickly and shit, like, what should be happening is, it should be all about the girl at first. It should be all about eating her pussy and shit, and then like turning her on. And then what's gonna happen is, if I have a girl that's actually turned on in front of me, it's gonna turn me on and shit. And then when we pull my dick out, I'll be excited for the moment and shit. You know what I mean? But like, to the idea of the girl pulling the dude's pants off before I do anything to her, it just seems like everything doesn't make sense to me. You know what I mean? And that's why it takes girls like a while to get to come, you know what I mean? Like, to me, it should be the guy working on the girl for man long, getting her close to coming, which I don't even know what the fuck a girl coming is, you know what I mean? Like, they say they come. I can't see it in any porns. You see girls squirting in porns, but then you hear squirting's different to coming, and then they say that the squirting in porns is just piss or whatever, or water or whatever. Like, I don't know what the fuck is real anymore. You know what I mean? I don't know, but why not, if a guy is gonna come there quickly, and I think a guy coming quickly is a compliment to a girl. Like, it's like, yeah, you turn me on that much. Like, to me, not getting hard is the embarrassing thing. And so if a guy is gonna come there quickly, but he kind of needs some motivation to get turned on, why not eat the girl's pussy for a man long, have her guide him in it, make her bring make sure she gets him towards arousal. I'd rather a girl play with herself in front of me if that's going to work better than me doing it if I'm doing it wrong. And then if she's doing everything right, I could just fucking put my mouth on her clit or something. You know what I mean? Like, I could just be like a bonus and shit, and she could move herself into the right direction. And if that's all going, if I know she's truly getting moved in the right direction, I'm going to get turned on, you know? And then once she's close, and then once I get hard, I'm going to be ready to come quickly. And then I could fuck her and we could come at the same time. You know what I mean? And that's what I feel like sex should be. But it doesn't seem like it's like that. But I don't know. Well, hopefully I'll find out. But all I really want is to get my shit popping through this so I could bring that to life. And then what I want to do is I want to turn my OnlyFans into basically like a porn site. You know what I mean? Like a free porn site. Like, I never charge people, but if chicks want, if I'm fucking a chick and it's good sex, and if I'm known through content and shit, and like if it could get her a little bit of notoriety by being on a video with me, and she was down for the video, we could shoot videos, you know what I mean? And it would be what I think porn should be, you know what I mean? It could be porn for girls, because if girls think I'm kind of cute, and we could shoot real sex, you know what I mean? And that's what girls could actually play with themselves. So, you know what I mean? Because I know girls don't mind watch girls get wet from other girls. So if a girl thinks I'm kind of cute and they think that this girl that I'm fucking is hot and we're having real good sex, like, that's real porn to me, you know what I mean? So that's what I eventually the end goal. So like, I call myself quote unquote Swiss Army knife for content. Like, I want to do comedy, I want to do podcasting, I want to do rapping, and I want to do porn. You know what I mean? Like, and I know I'm never gonna be great at having sex, just like I'm not great technically in these other lanes. But if I'm having good sex with girls and we tape it and people like to watch it and I just give it out free, then that's all you need. You know what I mean? And that's basically all I really want out of life. That's the end goal here. So that's it. Sterm, trip of a lifetime. Let's fucking go.